But the best thing about it is that the first 3 writers that I hired way back in the day in 2020, they are now our head of growth, our head of operations, and our executive editor. So I'm so proud of them, so happy, and their growth is just incredible, amazing.
In today's episode, I'm going to sit down and talk to Gordana, the co-founder of Workello. Gordana and her company has been growing client websites from 0 to 1 million organic traffic without any backlinks. So in this episode, I'm going to sit down and talk to Gordana how she scaled her 2-member startup into a 45-member content agency and still have time to start a SaaS company that worked with big brands like Copy.ai and Workweek. So keep listening because Gordana will tell you how she went from a simple editing job to growing a full company by herself without any leadership experience in just less than 2 years. So I'm pretty sure that this is going to be super inspiring to all of us aspiring CMOs who want to get into leadership and want to scale up and level up our career in marketing or any type of online business. So let's not wait any further and let's get into the episode. Hi everyone.
Hello.
We've got Gordana with us today. Hi Gordana, how are you?
Hello, I'm really good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm super happy that we met because the very first time I heard of you was through the SEO Mastery Summit's online version.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so Nick was giving a presentation and he talked about this magical editor. Who happened to become like this very high level person, didn't give a name, just the editor. And she
anonymous.
ended up like running the whole company. So ever since then, I'm like, oh, I want to meet this editor.
Oh my God, that was so long ago. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been 3 years.
Yeah. I remember that. I know Nick and I were actually roommates at that point, and he was delaying recording that for so long. I'm like, is this person going to kick you out of this SEO Mastery Summit if you don't record it soon? But all turned out well. So I guess, all is well if it ends well. Is that how to say it? I don't know, actually.
Maybe.
I have no idea.
So first question on this podcast is like, was this always your plan to run businesses?
No, never. It was never my plan. I kind of stumbled, honestly, onto this career. Probably like most of the people that start doing SEO, I honestly didn't even know what it was a few years ago. But I was a freelance writer for a very, very long time. And no one ever took the time to explain to me what is SEO, why I need to use the keywords that they gave me. Sometimes they would just even give me one keyword and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll use it. But I never knew why. And I came across actually Nick, who hired me on the spot to be his editor. I was his writer back then. And ever since then, it's been a hell of a ride. Like nothing I ever planned. Things just kept happening, but I would not have it any other way because I got to meet amazing people like you. And like, we get to do this now. And just in general, I learned so much about the business world, about marketing, and I'm super happy.
That's amazing. So what is your role now? Like, what do you do now?
So that's a good question.
You never know.
I officially, honestly, don't have a role. So I do a little bit of everything. I'm an advisor at content distribution or content marketing agency. I was a director of content operations there, but I stepped down to focus on being a co-founder of Workello, another company that we started, actually a SaaS company. But I started kind of getting back more into the agency world because I'm developing a new department now, actually. We're going to be working on video. So I don't know what my role is, but it's some kind of marketing girl.
The marketing girl.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. YouTube, TikTok.
I love it.
All that.
I love it. So in the content distribution, you guys focus on written content and now you're merging out to more creative content.
Yeah, that's right. So we as a content agency, we basically do just written content. We do it very well, but we believe that video is kind of the future, honestly.
It is.
And you see it every day. I mean, you see it, especially because you are on YouTube, a lot more than I am actually. But everyone who's watching this, you probably noticed that more and more results on Google are video results. And we basically want to develop this new system where we not only create written content, so SEO oriented, whatever you want to call it, but also embed videos and embed very custom videos into that content to help make it rank better. So that's the plan. And don't steal my idea.
It is hard. It's almost like you are running like an advertising agency almost, right? Like
Yeah.
it's you're creating very, very creative content. Yeah.
It is. It's a lot different than regular article writing. Like it's a completely different thing. First of all, with writing scripts, I mean, you have to be more of a copywriter than you are a content writer. I was never a very good copywriter. I'm way better at content. So that's like one big thing to get over, but also just all the elements that have to work together. You have to have a setup. You have to have someone recorded. In our case, it's still me because I'm still developing it. And then you have a video editor and then, the revision process and everything. And then it has to fit into the written content. So it's a completely different thing. I don't want to say it's harder than written content, but it's just new, I guess. So we'll see what happens, but I'm pretty excited, honestly. We have some good results so far.
Yeah. And so to summarize what you were saying is basically you guys and you right now are working on different content flows,
yes,
right? So different workflows and then different company setups for that. Goal is to create either articles or create videos.
Yeah. And combine them together just in a beautiful marriage of content.
Yes. Amazing. So how did you, back to your origin story, like you were an editor first and then you scaled the company, right? Was that content distribution?
Yeah, that was content distribution. So as I said, I started as a writer, got hired to be an editor. And Nick and I, at the time, we were the only two people in the company. So we were working with a bunch of freelance writers. But at one point, it was very clear to us that we cannot fulfill everything that we have to, excuse me, for our clients with just a few freelance writers who write maybe one article a week or one article every 2 weeks. So we decided to build a team, and I'm like completely biased, obviously, but I'm from Serbia, so I decided that we are going to build our team there. And that turned out to be one of the best decisions that we've ever made because we hired so many amazing people. We scaled the company super, super fast. It was 1 to 45 writers and editors in less than a year. It was insane.
So 1 to 45 team members within a year.
Yeah, like a year, maybe a year and 2 months, something like that. I can't remember exactly. It was obviously a very hectic time. So I'm not like exactly sure on the timelines, but we had to because we were working with this very, very big client at the time. Nick was flexing the 1.5 million graph. And obviously to get to that, you need to publish a lot of content. So at one point we were publishing 600 to 800 pages a month. And if you want that to be high quality content, you have to have a lot of good people working there. We did that. It was exciting. But the best thing about it is that the first 3 writers that I hired way, way, way back in the day in 2020, they are now our head of growth, our head of operations, and our executive editor. So I'm so proud of them, so happy, and their growth is just incredible, amazing. And generally, most of our editors from that time are still with us. So obviously it's not 45 anymore. We scaled down. Okay. No, we scaled down a little bit. Now we are at about 35. But we also, it's still a lot. But we diversified, so we have more clients now. Back then, it was just one client, which is a mistake. Don't do that. Do not work with one client only. Okay. If you take anything from this interview, take that.
Hi, if you listen to this far, thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on either Apple Podcast, Spotify, or my YouTube channel. If you have any feedback for the show, please let me know on the Aspiring CMO podcast social media pages on Facebook and Instagram, or send me an email on my website. Now let's get back to the episode. All right. So my biggest question, I'm finding myself in this management-ish role, but more like a middle management role. And in order to, when I look at your story, I'm like, wow, she has scaled from 2 members to 45 members. And what are the skills that required you to really make that happen? Was that the editing skill that you were an extremely great editor, like a technical skill? Or was that the hiring process and the interviewing process and stuff?
It was honestly a little bit of both. both. So the editing skills that I had helped me identify who's good at their job and who will be actually a good hire. But it's more than that. It's just figuring out the hiring process. So the first thing, it's really hard to get good candidates. I mean, you probably know, but you just get people applying for your job ads all the time. And with no qualifications, with really nothing that makes them stand out or even tell you that they can actually do that job. So we had to develop this hiring process where we test everyone. So everyone gets a fair chance. I don't care about your portfolio. I don't care about anything that you've done before. You could be a complete beginner. All I care about is how you do the test. And we've developed this test. Obviously, we've perfected it over the years, but everyone kind of starts at the same level. And then we see, okay, you're good. I can work with you. I can teach you, or you're hopeless. I can't do anything.
Okay.
But obviously, I would never say that to anyone, right?
And how many tests do you run, like, to hire a good candidate?
So for editors, for writers and for editors, it's two. So for writers, the first test is super, super short. It's 200 to 300 words. It's literally just write one H2 on a specific topic. You get some instructions like use this keyword, use this internal link. And it's a preliminary test. It takes maybe an hour to do. I don't know, 20 minutes. Depends on the writer. I won't say the exact time. But it serves as an indicator whether, first of all, they can write coherent sentences, if they can speak English, obviously, because we work in English, if they actually know how to write a compelling H2, even though it's just one H2 out of the entire article. And then after that, if they pass it, they move on to a bigger test, which is actually an entire article. And, they get a brief and everything, like an actual brief. They, of course, get paid for that. The first test is unpaid. It's a free test. And same for editors. So they get a grammar test first. And if they do well, then they get 3 excerpts to edit. Obviously, they get more time, they get briefs, they get everything. And that's how kind of determine who's good and who isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we nailed the process, honestly.
That's amazing.
Like,
how long is that hiring process usually? Is that a week?
Yeah, it can be a week or it can be longer, depending on how fast you want to go. Like sometimes we drag it out for a month.
Okay.
But when we really need to hire someone, we can definitely get it done in a week and a half, I'd say.
Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing. And then the tests are done. Do you also have face-to-face interviews with them?
Yes, we do. I think that if you're hiring anyone who's really important in your company, you need to have an actual interview. Writers and editors, they're the most important people for our company because they literally do the job that clients pay us to do.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to have an actual conversation with them, see how they would fit in our existing team. Unfortunately, over the years, I didn't used to interview people and I hired some people that were not very nice to others. I mean, me too. It was very sad. So yeah, definitely interview them. And it will also give you another chance to, especially if you're hiring non-native speakers, which I am 100%, it will give you a chance to actually see if this person can actually speak English as well as they say they would. Yeah, I actually had an example of a guy. I hired him. I didn't interview him. And turns out his wife was writing his content, like all of his content. And he was also a very mean person. So definitely interview your candidates if they're important.
All right. So it seems like that in order to scale fast and scale well, it's very important to understand the process, understand what is required. So like the end product.
Yeah.
And also to have that consistency to test people and interview people.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to make it repeatable. If you hire one good person, I mean, amazing, your life is going to be easier. But if you don't have a repeatable process, you're kind of stuck on that one person and one person can't really do everything, as we know. So it has to be repeatable. It has to be a fair system. So you're not biased when you're hiring because all that matters at the end is that you deliver good work to your clients. And you can't if you are stuck in this hiring cycle that's never ending, that's not good. You're not finding the right people. So if you want to run a company, you have to run a company. You don't have time to edit content. You don't have time to write content. So definitely find yourself a good writer, a good editor or more and get out of content production if you want to actually make some serious money with SEO. Otherwise, I don't think you can make any significant change. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, I understand. And I think I'm sometimes stuck in a mindset where people would want to hire somebody less qualified because of their price. What do you think? about that?
I think you can do that if you already have developed systems and processes in your company. If you don't do that. If you're just starting out and it's one of your first hires, maybe not your first, but if you don't have everything written down, everything documented, you're going to have a very hard time training this person, because what are you going to train them on if you have no documentation? So in the beginning, I definitely recommend hiring someone who's more experienced. They don't have to necessarily have worked in these crazy big agencies or famous companies, but they just have to be really, really good at their job and experienced at what they do. Bonus points if they can actually write process docs, which is the most important thing. And then when you systematize or document everything, then you can hire people with no experience. I mean, I hired people with zero experience and it worked because we had the process. But in the beginning, it was just impossible because we didn't have anything, right? So I had to write it down first, and then you can work with cheaper writers and editors.
Hi, if you listened this far into the episode, thank you so much for listening. And if you would like to see Gordana in person and join her workshop, join the SEO Mastery Summit from April 7 to 11, right in the center of Ho Chi Minh City. You will get to spend your time with 400 other SEOs like you and level up your skills as an SEO, marketer, and online entrepreneur right in the center of Ho Chi Minh City. So get your tickets now, because we increase prices at the end of every month. Grab it and let's go to the biggest party of the year. Now let's get back to the episode. One thing that you love about your career?
The people, honestly, that's my favorite thing. It's so cliche, but I've met so many incredible people. Like, obviously, it's so nice. You know, this job can be very lonely because everything is remote, which I love. I'm never going back to the office, but you're stuck at home, you're on your computer, you talk to these people online and you're kind of friends on Facebook or whatever, but you're kind of alone, right? So when you get to come to Chiang Mai or Vietnam pretty soon, you just get to meet everyone, and it's just so nice. And everyone has something smart to say. So you actually learn so many things. And another thing that I love is that it's never boring, because your job literally changes. My job changes every 6 months. Like, I just keep R&Ding new stuff and trying new things. So it's very hard to get bored.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
What is that one memorable thing that about your business that nobody knows?
So yeah, might not be like super funny, but I remember it as kind of my first big mistake that I made. It's funny now. I'm not an SEO. I wasn't an SEO back in the day. And I remember we were working with this one client, and Nick said, you should import, I don't know, like a CSV with 500 redirects or something like that. We were migrating a site. It was a nightmare. And so I Googled it, obviously, found a guide and did it. And then I generated 500 404s for the new website. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do now? So I didn't tell anyone anything. And I manually went in and redirected every single one. It took me the whole night. And then I told Nick, and he was like, well, you could have just reverted it. It's like, so that was pretty scary in the beginning. But after that, nothing was scary anymore, because after 500 404s, everything is easy, right? Like, it's fine. Everything can be fixed.
Everything.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. And actually, like, I think I found it funny. Like, you say that you don't have a role, but you are everywhere. So, like, it's not like you don't have a role. Every role is related to you.
Yeah, it is. But I don't have like an official role anymore. Mm-hmm. So when people ask me, like, what are you? I'm like,
identify with that.
I'm Gordana.
Identity crisis.
Yeah.
But I do think of you as a C-level executive right now.
Oh, thank you.
Because, you're a co-founder of Workello, which is a SaaS company. You are developing a new department in content distribution, and you built content distribution to a mid-sized company. So actually, you are C-level. Oh. Right?
Thank you.
Like, I'm just using my logic here.
Yeah.
And my next question is, like, in your opinion, what are the 5 most important skills for a C-level role?
So I think, first of all, you have to be really resourceful, which is basically just a fancy way of saying that you can get ahead of any situation and solve it. It's really, really important to be super flexible too, because things are not going to go the way you planned them at all. And I really think that being creative in that way and finding solutions to something that there's no handbook on is a very good skill to have. I think being a good communicator is extremely important. I am working on that. Like, I wasn't a very good communicator, honestly. I'm kind of introverted and I didn't really like to share, my progress on something or what I was doing. But it is super important to be a good communicator, to be transparent with your team, to kind of always know where everyone is. I really think having some empathy for your team is also very important, because you have to develop these people and you have to, you're basically taking care of their careers and you are guiding them to that next level. So understanding what they're going through is super, super important as well. I don't know how many things that
So
was.
resourcefulness, empathy, good communication.
Yeah, that was three. Creativity, also one more thing. I mean, in my line of work, not every C-level positions are like this, but you got to be creative. And yeah, that's like four, right?
I asked for maybe one more.
One more.
I would say maybe hiring, like that you did.
Yeah, you're
Like
right. I was
identifying the
looking
good
for like
people.
personality traits. That's actually,
Yeah.
you are absolutely right. Yeah. Learning how to recognize talent is really important. Even if you're not naturally good at that, just develop a system, because if you hire someone who's not very good, your life is going to be extremely hard.
Yeah.
But when you make a good hire, things can go from 0 to 100 super fast for you, and your company can go places where you never thought it would go. So yeah, hiring. Thank you. I was actually like trying to look within and find personality traits. I didn't think of the real world. So.
No, it makes sense. I'm really looking forward to your insights, and also later when I interview Nick, like how you guys been basically building this company together. Because I would like to become a CMO one day, and that means that I should already know about what skills are required to like even be on the same level as other C executives. So yeah, that's why hence the question.
Oh, yay. Yeah. No, I mean, you're definitely on the right path. I think you have all the qualifications, because you are everything that I think makes a good C-level executive, but you're also very young and ambitious. And honestly, that's not super common, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Like, I see a lot of people, because I do hire a lot of people, obviously not CMOs, but you never know where you can go one day. And that ambition is really important. I see people that are just happy where they are, which is fine. I mean, good for them, but they don't want to grow their careers. They don't want to be anything above than what they are right now. Again, good for them, but it's not every day that you come across someone who actually is striving for something. And I know you're process oriented, which is super important for any C-level person.
I am.
So that's also not very common, honestly.
I see. The process mindset comes from productivity. So I think I am one of those late millennial, early Gen Zs that started off working during the COVID season. So that means that I had to be either very productive, because we were always at home. So I was finding these productivity hacks, and time management tips. And this is why I processize everything, because I will forget that we have an interview today if it's not on my calendar.
I know, yeah.
I don't have to remember this anymore, right? Like there's like less storage in my brain.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of jealous, because I wish I was like that. I spent my COVID just being like, oh, can I go out now, please? Like, it was not a very productive time for me, but
it was
I get what you're saying. It was very hard. But see, that's what I'm talking about. Most people would not do that. They would not I know people who never use their calendars for anything, and they refuse to put stuff on my calendar. And it's like, why? Just put it on my calendar,
Yeah, just use a Calendly link.
Yeah, no, like, what is Calendly? Can we just schedule something? Like, I'm booking some podcasts now, and I have a bunch of hosts or assistants to hosts who message me and say, do these time work for you? And then like, this date, this time. So I'm like, can you just send me your Calendly, please? And they don't have it. So
Oh, well. And now that we are coming to the end, so now that you have reflected on your journey as being the Wonder Woman in the company, and scaling it from basically from 1 to 40, like what is your advice for people who are just starting out and for aspiring CMOs?
oh my God, that is such a good question. Don't, it's cheesy, but just don't stop what you're doing. Keep going, keep learning new things. If you ever get the opportunity, if someone asks you, hey, do you want to take on this project or do you want to try this? Say yes, just do it. Because even if you don't know what you're doing, you can just Google that. That's actually how I got my job. Nick asked me, have you ever managed a team? And I was like, yeah, of course I did. Like, who hasn't? Of course, I never did that. But then you just Google stuff around, you figure it out as you go. And, if you find the right company to grow with that will give you that opportunity, just don't say no to things that are legal. First of all, don't say no to legal things.
I love that.
Yeah, and then just keep trying new stuff. Just
Okay.
keep documenting it. But you're already very good at that. So yeah, I can't wait actually to see where you go. I'm actually so excited.
Thank you.
Because you remind me a lot of, there's this girl on my team too. She's a little bit younger than you. She's 23 years old now, and she started working with us 3 years ago. So she was 20, and she's just amazing. She gets it just like you get it. And I think we're all going to work for her and when you guys are 30, 100%, like 100%. So I'm very excited to see where you go.
Thank
Like,
you.
I can't wait.
Thank you so much. And I'm really thankful for you to join the show.
Oh,
Hey,
thank you.
finally.
Finally, we do
Yes.
it.
And if you guys want to meet Gordana in person, she's going to be one of our speakers at the SEO Mastery Summit.
Yes, I
Yes.
can't wait. It's going to be a really good workshop. And I've never been to Vietnam, so I hope people show me around good places.
Yeah.
But yeah, can't wait. Super excited. Let's make some good content together.
Awesome. All right. Thank
Yay.
you.
Thank you.
Yay.
Oh,
I love you.
oh my God, I love you.